Summary of The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis. Polly Plummer, a little girl who lives in a London row home, is taken aback when she unexpectedly meets Digory, a young boy who has recently moved in next door. He lives with his old, unmarried aunt and uncle, the Ketterleys. His mother is dying, and his father is in India, so he has to move in with them. The two kids talk about Digory's mad Uncle Andrew and Andrew's strange study. Polly and Digory become friends, and they spend the summer playing in the attics of the row houses, which are all linked. One day, the kids walk into Uncle Andrew's study by mistake. They thought they were going into a neighbor's attic. Uncle Andrew gets up from a chair and scares the kids by locking them in the room. He then gives Polly a shiny, softly humming yellow ring to make her feel better. She vanishes as soon as she touches the ring. Uncle Andrew tells Digory a story when he wants to know where Polly has gone. Mrs. Layfey, his strange godmother, who was said to have fairy blood and to have used dark magic, gave him a little box. Uncle Andrew finally broke a promise and studied magic himself. When he opened the box, he found dust from another world. He used the dust to make magic rings, yellow ones to send his test subjects to another place and green ones to bring them back home. Polly doesn't have a green ring, so Digory knows he'll have to save her since his evil uncle is too scared to do it himself. When Digory puts on the yellow ring, he finds himself suddenly in a bright wood with a lot of small ponds. Polly is there, and even though both kids are still dreaming, they finally remember what happened and figure out how to get back home. At the last minute, they decide to look in other pools to see what kinds of worlds might be there. The kids move to green rings, hold hands, and jump into a different pool. This puts them in a world called Charn that is cold, broken, and seems to be empty. They walk through crumbling gardens until they reach a hall full of the frozen bodies of dozens of people dressed in expensive clothes. A small metal bell with a hammer next to it is also there. After a heated fight, Polly is afraid and wants to go home, while Digory doesn't want to go crazy from excitement. Digory hits the bell with the hammer to see what will happen. Soon after, a beautiful, fierce queen wakes up from her charmed sleep and walks toward them. The queen, Jadis, walks the children out of the building and shows them the ruins of her once great country. She tells them that she destroyed Charn herself with a spell called the Deplorable Word because she didn't want her sister to take her place on the throne. She then put herself into a magical sleep and waited until someone rang the bell. When Jadis hears Digory say that the children come from a different, smaller world, she wants to go there so she can control and rule it. Polly and Digory try to get back home, but they find out that the magic rings work like magnets. Since the queen is holding Digory's ear, she and the children are pulled back to London. In London, Jadis is so much bigger than Uncle Andrew that he cowers when she tells him to find her a good chariot and nice clothes before she takes over the world. Digory and Polly are stuck at home while Jadis causes chaos all over the city. When she goes back to the Ketterleys' house, she has a handsome cab and its poor horse, Strawberry, as well as a train full of angry traders, angry cops, and happy bystanders. The queen, who is now called the witch, strikes a police officer with a broken lamppost arm. Digory and Polly are able to get the witch and a yellow ring so that they can get the witch out of London, but they bring Strawberry, the cabbie, and Uncle Andrew with them by mistake. This time, when they leave London, they all find themselves in a world that is perfectly dark and where beautiful singing can be heard in the distance. As this new world slowly gets brighter, they see that the singer is a big, bright lion. The lion's song brought forth the stars, the sun, and now fields and trees. The witch doesn't like the music and runs away when the lion comes near, but the kids can't wait to meet him. All at once, a huge number of different animals came out of the ground. Aslan, the lion, walks among the other animals and touches their faces. The chosen animals gather around him, and he gives them the power to think and speak by breathing into them. Aslan gives these talking beasts the job of taking care of the animals that don't talk. Digory gets the courage to ride on Strawberry's back and go right up to Aslan. Aslan asks him how the witch got into Narnia, and Digory tells him that he broke the witch out of her spell. The lion's silence makes Digory admit that he did it. Aslan talks to the cabbie and calls the cabbie's wife from her own world before he deals with Digory. He says that Frank and Helen will be the first king and queen of Narnia. Then, Aslan tells Digory that he needs to fix what he's broken. Digory has been crying and hoping that Aslan could fix his sick mother, but he agrees to do what Aslan tells him to do, which is to go into the western wild and find a certain tree in a walled garden. He has to pick an apple from that tree and give it to Aslan. Aslan then turns Strawberry into a flying horse, renames him Fledge, and tells him to fly Digory and Polly to the garden. The next day, they go to the smelly yard, and Digory goes in by himself. Digory sees a sign on the gates that says, "Come in through the gold gates or don't come in at all. Take my fruit for others or don't take it for yourself. For those who steal or climb my wall will find both their heart's desire and despair." Digory finds a silver apple right away in the yard. As he is getting ready to leave, he is surprised to see the witch. She, too, has eaten an apple to make herself live forever. When Digory tries to run away, she tells him that if his mother ate one of these apples, she would get better and maybe even live forever. Digory struggles with this terrible choice, but in the end he realizes that the witch is just trying to tempt him and doesn't really care about his mother. Still, his heart is broken, and the only thing that makes him feel better as he flies back with Fledge and Polly is the thought of Aslan. Aslan is happy when Digory comes back to Narnia with the apple. He tells Digory to put the apple on the bank of a river. Everyone sees that a whole tree of silver apples has grown after King Frank and Queen Helen are crowned. The witch will stay away from Narnia for hundreds of years because of its lovely smell. Aslan tells Digory that he did the right thing by not taking the first silver apple for himself. He then gives Digory another apple from the tree that will cure his sick mother. Digory picks an apple with happiness and then goes back to his world with Polly and Uncle Andrew. Aslan also tells the children that their own world could turn into a bad place like Charn if they don't hide the magic rings so no one else can use them. Digory cuts up the Narnian apple for his mother when he gets back home. The next day, she feels a lot better, and in a month, she is completely cured of her life-threatening disease. Digory finds that another apple tree has grown where he hid the apple core in the garden, but it's not a fully magical one. He and Polly hide the magic rings at the base of this tree. After Digory's mother gets better, his father comes back from India with a fortune, and the family moves to a country house where Polly often comes to visit. Under King Frank and Queen Helen, Narnia is happy and peaceful for a long time. Digory gets the Ketterle East London house when he is in his 50s and is a well-known professor. When a storm knocks down the apple tree in his yard, he uses the wood to build a closet that will lead to more adventures in Narnia.
About the author. C.S. Lewis was born in Ireland and grew up there. He went to Oxford University and did well there as an English, classics, and philosophy expert. Lewis fought in World War I. He saw a lot of death and destruction there, which made him an atheist for most of his 20s. Lewis taught at Oxford University for more than 30 years. During this time, he joined the Anglican Church and became a strong voice for Christian beliefs. Lewis's love for Christianity and his huge understanding of mythology and languages led him to write his most famous book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the first volume of the Chronicles of Narnia, in 1949. During his life, he wrote poems, articles, literature, autobiographies, works of fantasy and science fiction, and academic criticism, philosophy, and Christian defenses.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.